Okay, in this video we are going to look at kind of restoring an actual photo and kind of the beginning stages of any of these projects where you're either manipulating or changing photos, or restoring in this case, but again, kind of same process no matter what. So first thing I want to do is I want to flip this picture right side up. As you scan something often, this is going to happen to you where it's upside down. So what I want to do first is image rotation 180 in this case, because I just want to get this thing right side up. It's going to be very annoying to fix this thing looking at it upside down. Alright, next what I'm going to do is I want to crop down this picture, because this border that's around the outside is nice. Obviously it needs a lot of work, but I could add a border back in later and use an off-white color like this if I wanted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop down. So I'm using my crop tool. Now as you notice, this isn't working right. I can't get the shape that I need. Now the reason for that, I'm going to hit escape, is because I have settings up top here from the last time that I used this to make this a specific size. Now because I had pixels in here, this means this was something for the internet or for digital display. If I had numbers in here that were inches, like 8 by 10, 3 by 5, 5 by 7, those would be standard picture frame heights. So if you want a picture to fit in a picture frame, it's got to fit those proportions, so you can set that, then you can crop down whatever you're doing so that it'll fit in a frame. So anyway, I got rid of all those numbers now, and now what I can do is I can drag any shape I want. Now this way this works in Photoshop, when I let go, it's not done cropping it yet. It's kind of nice. It shows me a preview. So what I can do is I can adjust this. If I needed to rotate it a little bit, I could. Once I'm totally happy with this thing, I'm going to hit enter. Now one other thing to notice, we have the screen divided into 9 sections, 3 by 3. Well, there's something called the rule of thirds. Whenever you're taking pictures, and this is why when you're cropping it down you want to try to follow this rule, you want the most interesting things to be along these lines, now especially at the intersections here. Like this picture is fairly well composed because you can see this face is almost right at this intersection here. You don't necessarily want all your subjects to be centered all the time. You want to try following this rule of thirds. That's why Photoshop gives you that, and you can have that turned on or off. Mine is turned on at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and now I've cropped that thing down. The next thing I want to do is any color adjustments that I might need. So to do that, what I'm going to do is image. I can do these auto ones here. Any of these that I don't like, I could just undo. And I could also, if I wanted to go a little fancier, I kind of like that. Now if I didn't like that, I could also kind of get into these more advanced ones here. So as you kind of play around with those and look at those, that would be a much different subject, much different video here. I don't want to get too complicated with this, but for the most part, if you just open them and play with them, you'll kind of figure out what's what. It's important that you do the adjustments before you duplicate your background. And here's why. If I duplicate this, let's call this one restored, and I need to fix a portion from this old one, these have the exact same color. So it would work out if I were to need some of this old one. If I go back in my history to before where I did these adjustments, and I duplicate this layer, we'll call it restored. So this is not the right way to do this. Now I'm going to do the color adjustments just on this one. Adjustments, let's say I did just like the auto color. There you go. So now this one looks much different than this one. So that's kind of something you're going to see is going to mess this up. So let me continue with this messed up one. I'll show you this next step, and then we'll go back and we'll do it the right way. Let's say that I fixed a portion of this screen. So I'm going to again make this brush nice and large. I'm going to steal from this area, I'm going to throw it here, and whoops, I screwed up. I want to go back to this original and steal from that area. Here's how I can do this. If I go to this original layer, I'm going to turn off the restored one right now so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make a very rough selection of that area I want to redo. And I'm going to go Edit, Copy. I'm going to go Edit, Paste Special. I want to paste it in place right in the same spot. Now that's going to put it in its own brand new layer. I'm going to drag that layer on top of restored, and now if you notice what happens is I could then redo this area here. You can really see the difference obviously because I changed the color of this after. But then what I would want to do is I'm going to hold shift, I'm going to select both of these layers, I'm going to right click and I'm going to merge those two layers together. So now I would be able to fix that spot because we pasted in the same spot, I'd be good to go. Now obviously the color is not right here. So going back to the beginning and just kind of doing this the right way, I'm going to delete that layer. I'm going to do my image adjustments first. So let's say I went through and this is what I wanted. I didn't want the other two. Now I'm going to duplicate this layer. Call this one restored. And again, I could call that one like backup, original. Just kind of make sure you lock it. Again, let's say I was fixing this spot and I screwed up. Now what I can do is that same thing I just showed you. I can go to the background. I can make a selection. So really what the computer's seeing right now isn't what's on our screen. The computer's seeing this. It's seeing the background layer. So this is what I want to copy. So I'm going to do edit, copy. I'm going to go to this restore layer. This part really doesn't matter because I'm pasting this into a brand new layer. I'm going to paste special. I'm going to paste in place. So it goes in the exact same spot it was sitting before. So now we have that on top of the restore layer. So we basically have that, and then underneath it we have that. So I want to combine these two. Again, I'm going to hold shift. I click, right click, merge layers. Now those two are one thing and I can kind of redo that area. That's why it's important to change the color before you kind of start restoring. And then from here, the only other tip I'll give you guys is really make sure that you're zooming in while you're working, because all these little details, maybe not that far, all these little details, even these little like pixels in this case, you can almost see how big the pixels were, back in like the 60s or 50s when this picture was taken, are going to show up when you print this thing. If you were to print this out on photo paper, you're going to see all of this. So even if something looks decent on your monitor, remember, your paper is going to show more detail. So you got to just kind of be cognizant of that, be aware of that. So what you can do now, go ahead and start practicing on this picture.